Bringing it to some disturbing crime news locally, Rusty, a theater arts teacher at a College Station high school, has been arrested. He's accused of sexual misconduct with a 17-year-old male student.
This is a story that we broke last night on KBTX.com. The 42-year-old teacher's name is Gregory Michael Stanley. He's being accused of improper relationship between educator and student. College Station police were tipped off by the student himself. He ended up going to the police department on Monday morning, several hours after this alleged encounter took place. He told police officers that Stanley had initiated unwanted sexual contact with him at Stanley's home. So we obtained the probable cause affidavit earlier today, which basically spells out, and again, these are all allegations, that says that apparently this teacher texted the student at around 1 in the morning on Monday, said, "Come over." The student said that when he arrived at the home of this teacher, he provided alcohol, and then things went from there. A couple hours later, the student went home. He was able to go home, and when he got home, he said, "You know what, I need to go to the police department." Number one question we've been seeing on Facebook, people asking, what on earth is a student going to a teacher's home for, especially at 1 in the morning? Questions we don't have answers to at this time. The police department says that they're still investigating this, but we're certainly working on getting more details, and Trina Atcher is out there working on this. So we'll have more at 5, 6, and 10 here on News 3.
Absolutely. We are looking forward to more on that. In some better news, it is one step closer to being back. That is Bluebell. Over in Alabama, Bluebell, they're producing ice cream and they're rebuilding their inventory at their plant in Sylacauga, which is always tough for me to say. But look at that, they're going.
Hey, the Alabama Department of Public Health did confirm today that Bluebell can go ahead and begin producing its ice cream at that plant. Here's the big news about today. They're saying that there's no restrictions, that once Bluebell starts to produce the ice cream at its Alabama plant, they can do whatever they want after that, which means, yeah, we are one step closer to getting the Bluebell ice cream back on the shelves. But Bluebell did send a couple of tweets earlier that said, okay, yeah, we're confirming this.
Oh, yeah.
The production is starting in Alabama. However, we're not going to release any details just yet of where the first cartons are going to be put back on store shelves or when.
Well, and it's a good thing that they're not, because I think if they release anything like that, folks would go and already line up now. You would see lawn chairs outside of that grocery store. I might be up front.
Kathleen is first in line.
I'm first in line.
Surrett will be second.
It's a team effort right there. We're just going to have the whole KBTX crew out there. Anyway, very, very, very exciting that Bluebell, for all of us ice cream lovers out there, but also just as a company, we know what it means to the Brazos Valley. We know what it means to Brenham and beyond. So it's just heartening to see that these appropriate security measures have been taken, and that now production is, on its way.
One step closer. That's all it takes.
That's all we get.
Hey, just because you're the president of the United States, that does not excuse you from jury duty. We learned that today.
No one is excused.
In Dallas, Texas. Listen to this. George Bush, President Bush, showed up in downtown Dallas today to report for jury duty.
He doesn't even get a break from that. Look at him. He does have a smile on his face. Turns out that he was not actually selected for the jury, but he showed up, he reported, he did his civic duty, and of course he made a second to take some photos with some other folks, so I guess we're out there for jury duty. I tell you what, if I showed up for jury duty, I hope there's a former president out there. That would just make the whole thing a lot more fun.
The Dallas Morning News said that when the judge walked into the courtroom, he did acknowledge, he said, with us today is a president, and we do thank him for showing up. And a couple of the other people that the Dallas Morning News talked to said, we were kind of nervous, but apparently President Bush was very down to earth. Laughed through, took some photos, shook some hands. He was very humorous about the whole thing. But as Kathleen said, he was not selected. Maybe one of the attorneys' question was, are you a former president of the United States? Surely there has to be a bias that's coming up somewhere from them. Netflix, of all companies, is changing the game, not just for how we watch TV, but for families across the United States. So cool. This has been the big talk of the day. Netflix has announced a new paternity leave that offers moms and dads unlimited time off during the first year after their child's birth. This is crazy. So a lot of talk about this. Actually, Mark Kelly has more on the Netflix big decision.
The Netflix newborn policy has techies dusting off their resumes.
It's amazing because as new parents, you just need to spend time with your kids.
Niti Mendarada especially loves that dads get equal time off. Her husband got a measly 7 days. In that first year, parents can work as much or as little as they'd like, and they'd still get a paycheck. Tech expert Tim Baharan lifts the curtain on this new benefit, saying it's all about competition between the tech titans in the valley to recruit and keep quality people.
If Netflix does this, it's going to put pressure on all the other tech companies who want to keep their engineering staff and their people happy.
Looks like Netflix is onto something. Mark Kelly for CBS News in Los Gatos, California.
You know, when I first heard about this, I thought it was odd that Netflix would be pioneering in this kind of way, but those tech companies, I think they're really doing what they can to recruit more women to come work for them, because if you look at the statistics, I mean, they're remarkably male driven. So maybe with this, even though it does affect both women and men, but maybe we're getting a little bit more for the woman who wants to have children and also wants to have a career in tech. Also, we've been hearing that Microsoft is following suit, so that's very interesting. Maybe Netflix is really setting a standard here that we could see just across the board in, what, a few years' time.
They say those kind of companies out in Silicon Valley, Netflix, Google, you got to have the best of the best there, and the perks make the workplace great.
There it is.
All right, we are going to be back right after this.